Let's talk about trauma. So yesterday I was, hitting the, like the punching bag, the big punching bag. I have one like in my room, and I was hitting it, right? And most of the time when I'm hitting this, punching bag, it's like normal, and you're training like the jab and like the hook, and I'm still like, I've bought it like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm still like, in like the very beginning, trying to learn like the basic punches and things like that, right? I'm not gonna lie, as I was hitting it, I started remembering some messed up things from my childhood, like trauma and, like, at home, me and my brother, we used to always get beat up when we did something wrong. And, like, I love my parents. My parents are genuinely, like, good people. But even like in school, like I used to always get bullied in school. I have all this trauma. It's kind of like the shadow that Carl Jung talks about. Like we all have this dark side of us, which is called like the shadow, which basically every single bad thing that has happened to you, every single event that was like traumatizing and very very hard or very very difficult for you, like your parents fighting or you getting beat up, right? Like for example, I grew up with like Middle Eastern parents, right? So they always had these like very high expectations of me and my brother, and we used to get beat up if we didn't live up to them, right? And the thing is, like, this shadow, you can't just let it go away. You can't just suppress it. You can't just like let it leave your body. It's always in you. It's always in your like your subconscious mind, like your mind that you're not aware of. It's stored there, right? Every traumatic event, every hard time that you went through is in that shadow. But the thing is, it has to come out. It has to, or you have to accept it. That's the thing, and that's what I've learned about like the shadow, right? But I was hitting this bag, and I'm hitting it like harder and harder, and I'm getting like angry, and I'm making like all these like primal sounds, right? I'm like getting really really angry hitting this bag because I'm remembering all of the trauma, and I feel like my shadow is actually getting out of me, and I'm getting like very angry, and I'm just sweating, and I'm hitting it like as hard as I can. And I realized, bro, I got a lot of I have a lot of messed up things from childhood, man. I have a lot of things from childhood that I can't really talk about here in this video. But yeah, I'm messed up. Yeah, bro, I'm not saying this to be a victim, like, at all. Like, it's all my responsibility. Like, I own it all as a man, right? But just the more you improve yourself and the more you get better, the more you realize why you're doing it. And I think for so long, I've been doing, and the reason I'm so obsessed with self-improvement and I can't stop, I don't know, man. I just feel like all of this, like I always feel like I'm never enough. I have this like massive insecurity. I think it's from the trauma that I had from childhood, honestly. Growing up, and I'm not gonna lie, I was always raised like the golden child, if that makes sense. So especially my dad, he always treated me like I was, like the best child ever, right? If I didn't like live up to the standard of being like perfect, I would get my ass beat, right? And my brother, he was like the scapegoat, so he would get like blamed for everything, and we both got beat up basically. But it's very hard to talk about this, honestly. Like it's very hard to talk about this, but yeah, I think the reason I'm so driven for self-improvement and I'm so obsessed with this, I think it's trauma, honestly. Not even with my parents and childhood and things like that. Even in school, like every school that I went to, I would get my ass bullied, bro. Like I would always get bullied, man. From the kids who were older, like Middle Eastern kids at school. It was tough. It was really tough. And the thing is, you look at any successful person, right? Any person who has done like very, very great things, they all have this like unprocessed trauma. Like if you've read Elon Musk's biography, like his father he always describes his father, he was like the worst human being ever, right? He always used to beat him up, and he used to swear at him, and he used to cuss at him. Like David Goggins, bro. David Goggins, he used to get whooped. His father was an alcoholic. He used to beat his mother. He used to beat him up. Iman Gadzhi, he wasn't even raised with a father. He didn't even have a father growing up. All he had was a mother. He was raised by a single mother. So I think most people who have done like very, very great things in life, they were all raised with, they all had like trauma in their lives. They all had like very hard backstories. And it's very hard for me to talk about this, honestly, but yeah, I have a lot of messed up things from childhood. And I think that's why I'm really, that's why I always feel like I'm never enough. I have all this massive insecurity. I always have to do more. But at the same time, I feel like I'm better than other people. I feel like, I deserve more. And that's how I always shift between these two people. Like I have this side of me which is like, no, you're never enough. You can never, reach your dreams. Who are you even? You can never do anything. And I have this other side of me which is like, no, you're better than everyone. You deserve way more than other people. And that's how I feel every single day, man. And the reason I'm saying this, all I'm trying to say is, bro, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect at all. Bro, I'm not perfect at all. In fact, I'm nothing. I'm literally nothing. And I think that's like the next step in my journey personally, is to work on my trauma, work on my like shadow, work on accepting that all those things happen, right? But I think, yeah, like all of the successful people, all of the people who have, all of the greatest people in history, all of the people we look up to, all of the greats, right? They all had like very hard lives, very hard childhoods. Like maybe their father beat them up, or their mother beat them up, or they would get bullied in school like very, very heavily, right? And one of the reasons I'm making this video is I know so many young men, like they have all this trauma and they never realize that they have it. That's the thing. Like the thing is, we suppress these we suppress these things that we have from our childhood, from our past, right? These very traumatic and hard events that happen to us. And the thing is, when we suppress them, it's kind of like, when you have like those volleyballs or those beach balls, right? You have those like beach balls which are like full of air, those very, very light ones. When you're like in the beach and you're standing there and you push that like beach ball down, that's what we're doing. Like we keep pushing it down. And the thing is, because it's full of air, it keeps, pushing your hands up, and you're pushing it down, and you're pushing it under the water, and it keeps pushing you up, right? That's exactly how the shadow works. The shadow, like I said, is basically every single hard thing that happened to you, or every single traumatic event, and basically like your dark side, right? We all have it. It's stored in our subconscious. But the thing is, instead of trying to suppress it and trying to keep pushing it down, we need to just accept it. Accept that the beach ball will stay floating on the water. Accept that, those things happened. And yeah, and a lot of times, I'm not gonna lie, I go to that like very dark path, like when I'm working out, or when I'm shadow boxing, or when I'm hitting the bag. I go to that dark side, man, and I keep remembering those hard times, those traumatic events from my childhood, those hard times, and I just push myself way, way, way harder. But I think the biggest sign that we overcame our traumas is that we become heroes. And I think, like, if you're really like a strong man, if you're really a man of strength and courage and integrity, that's really the biggest sign that you overcame trauma, is you become a hero. Now, what does that mean? Heroes and villains, they always have the same backstory. But the only thing really that separates heroes and villains is they both go through pain. But the villain says, I went through pain, so I'm gonna inflict that pain on the world. I'm gonna give that pain to other people because I went through pain. Why not everyone else, right? I went through all this pain. And the thing is, that's most people. That's most people. A lot of times, if a little boy got beat up, he got his ass kicked, right? He just got beat up, right? With the belt, with the coat hanger, right? Like Middle Eastern and Asian kids will understand this, right? You get beat up with everything. But that little boy grows up and he says, hey, that's the only way I've learned of parenting. That's the only way I've learned how to raise children. So I'm gonna inflict that pain, and I'm gonna inflict my shadow and my trauma on my children. But you're a villain if you do that. You're a villain. And the thing is, that's most people. Most people are like that. And we're living in this generational cycle of, oh, this bad thing happened to me, so I'm gonna make this bad thing happen to everyone else. And the thing is, most people are like that. But heroes, and this is the only thing that separates villains from heroes, they always have the same backstory. Pain. But a hero goes through pain. The same boy, he gets beat with the coat hanger, with the belt, he gets, shouted at, he gets beat up, right? He's mocked, he's bullied in school. But what he does is, he says, you know what? I went through a lot of pain. But when I'm gonna have children, they're not gonna go through that. I'm gonna raise them with love. I'm gonna give love to my children. I'm not gonna beat up my wife. I'm gonna give love to her. If I see a new kid coming into school, I'm not gonna bully him. In fact, I'm gonna encourage him. I'm gonna give him my love. I'm gonna appreciate him. I'm gonna encourage him into our group, right? Come play with us. Come play basketball with us. Come play football with us. And bro, like, we've always wanted to be superheroes, right? We've always, when we were young kids, we would always keep watching, Batman and Superman and Spider-Man. We would always watch these superheroes. But really, if you want to be a real life superhero, that's what you do. You go through a lot of pain, but you don't let other people go through that pain. And that's a true hero. That's a true hero. And yeah, that's, I think, is the next step in our self-improvement journey is, I'm gonna give so much love to my wife. I'm gonna give so much love to my children. They're never gonna go through any of that, ever. Because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like when I was a little boy, and I was depressed, and I wanted to kill myself, and I felt worthless, right? I don't want any of my children to go through that. I don't want anyone to go through that. Like, we're living in this fake life where we were always going through this generational cycle where, oh, I went through this bad thing, I'm gonna inflict it on everyone else. Like, families always go through this generational cycle of pain and pain and pain and pain and pain until one man, one like true strong man, a true hero, he says, you know what? For all those generations my family went through pain, I will break that generational cycle. I'm gonna break that cycle. I'm not gonna inflict that pain on anyone else. I'm gonna turn that pain into love, into patience, into tolerance. And I think that's how we as young men become strong men. That's how we as young men become real life superheroes. Right? Yeah, man. That's it. Like, this is not to say like I'm the best or whatever, but you know, when I was a young boy, I used to always get bullied in school, right? When I was like really young, in like third or fourth grade, I used to get bullied in school. Like, kids would, you know, I remember when my mom would buy me like a new lunchbox, and I would open it and I would sit alone. I didn't have any friends, and there was this like really annoying kid. He would always grab my lunchbox and throw it in there. The lunchbox would break into pieces. And you know, my sandwiches would go everywhere. And I would buy another lunchbox, and he would come to me and break that lunchbox again. And I would always get beat up, you know, and I would like get ganged upon, right? So there would be like this gang of boys, and they would just, everyone would hit me with his own style, right? And they would just gang up on me. I remember like laying on the floor and seeing all those kids, right? Each one of them standing and just once kicking me, once punching me. You know, like how aggressive, you know, Middle Eastern kids are. But now, you know, because I was like the new kid, I was the new kid in school, I was like the newcomer, right? And I was like very shy, and I was a weak kid, honestly. Now, when I see a new kid come into school, I'm now like a bit popular in school, right? Like a lot of people know me and things, and a lot of that, right? But when I see a new kid, I see myself in that kid. I see like young, shy, introverted, weak Kevin in that kid. So I told myself, you know, no. I encourage that kid into our group. I encourage him, come on, man, sit with us. Take this sandwich. I give him like a sandwich. I try to make them feel important as possible, as important as possible, right? You know, I try to make him feel important. I keep saying his name, smiling, you know, encouraging him, listening to him, right? And I think that's what makes a real life superhero. And the thing is, like, so many kids, man, so many, I see it all the time in school. Like, you get bullied. Like, these kids, they get really bullied. And they see a new kid and they bully him. Bro, like, the thing is, most people do it because that's the easy way, right? That's the easy path. Something bad happened to me, so I'm gonna inflict that on someone who has no fault in what happened to me. Like, why do they have to suffer? Why did that kid have to suffer? What did he do? He did nothing to you, and you're harming him. Like, man, like have some empathy, man. Like, it breaks my heart to see that, and I think this way because, you know, I was raised like very Orthodox Christian, and if you see like a new kid, like befriend him. And honestly, my mother is to be thanked for that. She always encouraged me to befriend like the weak kids, to befriend like the new kids who didn't have any friends. And I think like those Orthodox Christian values, or those like traditional values, are what made me who I am today. So yeah, like that's what I'm doing like right now is I'm trying to learn more about, you know, trauma, trying to learn more about like my childhood, uh trying to learn like how trauma works, how like the shadow, like the psychology behind it, and all of those things. And I think when we understand trauma, then we can actually become heroes, because that's the goal. That's really the goal. The ultimate goal is to become a superhero for people, is to go through all the pain and protect everyone from all the pain that you went through. That's a real man. That's a real strong man. So yeah, that's what I've been experiencing these past few days, honestly. And I'm gonna keep learning about trauma, and I'm gonna update you, bro, on, you know, what I've learned and how it works and all those things. As always, we're in this together, and we will make it.